Never forget, the Christian Bible, even the Bible with only 66 books, as opposed to the Catholic Bible, which has more books, but even the Bible, the Protestant Bible, with only 66 books, this uses the Old Testament, and Genesis is in the Old Testament. Genesis 1 is Genesis 1. I don't care if you're talking about the Hebrew Bible or the Torah, or if you're talking about the Christian Bible or the Holy Bible, however you want to term it. It's a book of stuff. It's a book of stuff filled with all kinds of cool stuff. So that's why I'm bringing it up, because we're talking about the Christian religion. I'm also bringing it up to say, to make clear, hey, this book, the Bible, the Old Testament, especially the Old Testament, is a book about the Semitic DNA line and the creative force they were dealing with. That's what it is. That's what it really is. It doesn't have anything to do with these other things on Earth. Like, there's no Chinese people in there. There's no, okay, well, here's the Indians. And how about those Aborigines from Australia? Where are they? They've been around for a long time. They're not in the Bible, but we all know they've been there. How about the Americas? South America. The people have been in South America for a long time. They've even got pyramids down there. I'd explain that one. How come that's not in the Bible? I mean, that's a pretty big thing, don't you think? You know, and there's all kinds of examples of this. So I'm making this really clear because people of today, people of the 21st century, you know, they're just not going to keep buying the stuff of the 18th century, the 19th century, and the early 20th century that the church keeps dishing out. The church does not understand this, but they're hurting themselves, okay? They really are. They're hurting themselves. I don't want to see that happen. This Christian thing, especially when I get done explaining it, I want to point out some of the real serious values of it to this whole planet. And I want to point out some really timeless values that it has, because I don't really like the idea that the world system, the people running the planet right now, really want to destroy it, because we kind of need it for empowerment, especially in the 21st century. So that's why I'm making this, okay? Now, the Christians that are the churchy people, they can argue with me until the cows come home. Look, I'm doing this because I really feel compelled to do it. And they're not going to understand why, and they're going to think, you're slamming us, you're trying to do this bad, you're doing blah, 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 blah. You have to do what we say. No, I don't. I don't have to do what you say. I'm sorry. I don't. You guys are wrong. I'm sorry, but you're wrong. Okay, there's way more to the story. And the people of today need the full story, not the story you've been receptive to that's been going on for, I don't know, a long time. So this is about the real story. So just let me do my thing, and I'm not going to disturb you, or at least I hope this doesn't disturb you. Hopefully you never come across this. That's kind of what I'm hoping. I don't think that'll happen, but I kind of hope that, because there's a whole bunch of you and there's only just one me, just one little me guy. That's it. So hopefully you see my point. All right, enough of my appeal to the church people. Let's get back to talking to the people of planet Earth living in the 21st century, because that's who this is for. The people of planet Earth living in the 21st century that speak English and that are coming under all kinds of influence that's going on in the 21st century. That's who this is for. We, that would be us, you and me, people of the 21st century. We're going to take a look right now, or we're going to begin to take a look right now. This one might be rather lengthy, but we're going to begin to take a look right now at Christianity, the Christian religion, what's behind the Christian religion, the Christ itself, and because it was couched in the whole story of here's the beginning of the Bible, here's the Old Testament, we're going to look at that too. Because it is a really serious connection you need to make in your mind when looking at the Christian religion, because the time period and the day of that time, of course, when Christ was born, the Roman Empire was flourishing. The Roman Empire had begun its empire phase, and they were empiring, doing all the empire stuff. We still have empiring today, so we know what empiring is. It's kind of ruthless, and it's incredibly tragic, quite frankly. However, it's part of this time we're living in right now. We're still in the empire age. And the Christ figure was born in the empire, Roman Empire time, in Israel, and of course that's set up on the Mosaic Law. That's how they set their place up, on Mosaic Law. This is what we need to understand about Mosaic Law. We're going to traipse back in history a long time before the Christ ever shows up on planet Earth, and we're going to go back to the time of Moses. Now, Moses had already left Egypt, and Moses is out in the wilderness, and they're doing their thing out in the wilderness. We're going to go back into that time because I want you to understand something so crucial. It's going to answer so many unanswered questions, and it's going to clear up a bunch of stupid ridiculousness that just doesn't make sense to your 21st century mind. But it really does make sense if you see it the way I'm going to lay it out here in this recording. In the last set of recordings, a different view. The last set of recordings. In the last set of recordings, I made a point about how cultures and civilizations, Hebrews being one of them, set up their cultures according to their spiritual beliefs and their religious beliefs. They set them up this way. This is the way it works on planet Earth. Now, the Hebrew culture, this is a long time ago. We're talking, okay, the pyramids were already, the pyramids were really in full swing, and this is this guy Moses lives in Egypt, and he's in the pyramid system, and he's a big hoodoo over there, and you've all seen the Ten Commandments, so I'm not going to beat that to death, but he ends up in the wilderness with hundreds of thousands of people called Hebrews. That's what's really going on. Hundreds of thousands of people called the Hebrews. I want you to let that stick in your head for a moment, because we don't usually understand that. Hundreds of thousands of people out in the middle of nowhere called the Hebrews. And that's important to this understanding. That's why I'm repeating it a couple of times. Another thing to seriously understand is that this portion of the Bible is filled to overflowing with mysticism. The thing the church tells you to run fast from? Oh my God, it's mysticism, run for your lives. It's filled to overflowing with mysticism. And what is mysticism really? It's sort of a thing, looking at it from a term of 21st century physics, mysticism actually dabbles in dimensions. Here's a dimensional reality. Here's another different dimensional reality. Now that's real mysticism, not fairy book mysticism. We're talking real mysticism, because we're talking the Old Testament. We're talking Moses out in the middle of the Sinai Peninsula doing his thing for 40 years. Okay? And you all know the story, so I don't have to beat this to death. but there's something within the story that you miss, because there's something within the story that never ever gets mentioned, because quite frankly the people running the show of religion never ever want to bring this up, because it's mysticism. It scares the crap out of them. If they ever thought this for a moment, it would be like, oh my God, run for your lives. No, we can't do it all. Run, 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 run. It's just the truth of it. Now, as we all know from either sitting in church or being exposed to it or watching the movies, the first generation that came out of Egypt had slave mindsets. In other words, I'm working for minimum wage mindsets, and they really weren't ready to come in and take over a big swath of land called a territory that was going to be set up a certain way through mystical evidences. Now, those people had to finally die of natural causes, so that's part of the whole why it took 40 whole years. I mean, it literally took 40 years. 40 years, that's a long time. I mean, for us, that's a long, long time. That's more than, that's at least a half a lifetime of humans these days. So 40 years. 40 years. That's how long it took to shift the mindset to where it needed to be. Now listen to me carefully. This is very important to today's time. That's how long it took to shift the mindset to where it needed to be to accomplish the goal. Okay, and the goal was incredibly mystical. Alright? We're going to go into the next segment. This one's getting too long.